And hello, and welcome everyone to the comic multiverse where the worlds of nerd meet. As always, I am your host, Joel. And am I really recording? We took a week off, and now I'm not even sure if I'm actually recording or not. If my freaking OBS. Okay, look, it actually is recording, but I don't think it started till late. Again, this is what happens when we take a week off, Matt. Everything goes to shit.
It's all right. With the magic of editing, I can make it sound like you didn't actually start recording a little bit into
Late.
it. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. This is why Matt is an integral part of the comic multiverse organization. How are you doing, sir?
Pretty good. Pretty good. That week off was actually kind of good.
Agreed. Yeah, it's nice to take one off every so often. We did it for several reasons. Mainly, the big one was that there was no news last week, nothing worth talking about. And I know you guys are like, well, shit, that's never stopped you before from turning in a 2 hour epic when there was no news.
That's true. But yeah, it's probably actually a good thing we did wait.
Yeah, because more came down the pipeline later. I'd actually been fairly busy this week as well. Got my mom her first vaccine shot. That felt good.
Lovely, lovely.
One less thing I got to worry about. And of course, because, my genes are garbage, which means her genes are garbage too. Just about every side effect you can think of, she got it.
Oh yeah.
All the all the fluish symptoms, all the chills, all the sweating. So I was, following her around trying to take care of her. And then I forgot today was Mother's Day as we record this, and I'm like, oh fuck, I should really, really have tried to do something for her. Luckily, my shitty podunk town finally got like what is it, DoorDash,
hmm
the food
hmm
delivery app, so I was able to actually order her a nice breakfast.
Oh, that's nice.
I got her a nice eggs benedict, and of course, because she doesn't eat all her food, her leftovers became my dinner. So that was good for me. Another reason we didn't do a show last week to everyone, and let me just say, it warmed my heart. All the people who were super excited on Twitch to see us back again, that really warmed my heart, and that really made me feel good. Another reason we didn't have a show last week is YouTube, the bastion of quality and amazing content that they are, decided to change their algorithm rules yet again. And I've been talking about this with other YouTubers, and maybe you've noticed other people you watch online complain about this too. Basically, what YouTube is doing now is punishing you for making multiple different types of content,
Yeah,
which for
it
me,
wants you to stay with one content, which really like puts a hamper on the stuff I want to do because I
sure
had like all
does.
this other stuff I had planned to, and it was
Oh yeah.
completely different to what I do usually do. And yeah,
Oh yeah.
I'm deciding whether I should do that or not now, or just start
Yeah.
a new channel.
Yeah, it's a fuck of a thing. Maybe you've noticed, of course, I'm on the Elseworlds exchange with Sal from Comic Pop, and one of the things he ended up having to do was take the show me and him do, stream it on YouTube for his channel, and then archive it on a completely different channel. Because basically, if all your videos aren't getting the same regular amount of hits, YouTube's going to bury what you do. So basically, unless you're doing the one thing that works well for you, then fuck any passion projects you're working on. And here's the thing, we didn't do the show last week. The comic multiverse, well, I love it to death, and it's a great way to interact with fans and a great way for me and Matt to hang out and do shit and everything. It's never been a big viewership thing on YouTube, and that's fine. I enjoy doing it. It's a nice incentive for patrons, some of the most hardcore fans out there. We didn't do it last week, and I actually did see a boost in numbers, which is actually pretty heartbreaking. To know that, fuck, this is the show that was actually maybe kind of bringing it down, and Capes and Quest 2, which is also why I kind of stopped uploading them, even though I was going to dump them all before the next thing. But yeah, we're kind of at an impasse right now. I don't want Comic Multiverse ever to go away, but Matt and I are going to have to put our heads together in the next couple of weeks and figure out what we're going to do with it. Maybe it's going to go to another channel. Maybe we're gonna host on Matt's channel, maybe host on Cape Joel Extra, maybe just go every 2 weeks now or something to see if that makes a difference. I don't know, but we're gonna have to try and do something with it. And again, this is YouTube, so even though this is like a problem now, it might not be a problem next week. There's been plenty of things Matt and I have just kind of stayed the course on, and it hasn't hurt us too much.
Yeah, we'll have to give it like we'll have to give it like a trial run, like a couple of weeks, and just see where it is. Because yeah, as you said, it usually goes back to normal after a couple of weeks. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, so that's a thing that we may have to end up doing at some point. Maybe do it every 2 weeks. We'll figure out something for it. And again, next week YouTube could be completely different. This is just us being, transparent with you all and letting you know what's going on. But hey, doom and gloom aside, how was your week, Matt?
Pretty good, pretty good. Since we haven't really talked for 2 weeks on the show, I got like a lot done, and like I
Nice.
watched a lot of TV and movies
Same.
and played a lot of video games.
Same. I watched that Mitchell's versus the Machine movie from the Spider-Verse
Mhm.
guys.
Mhm. I haven't watched that
Man,
one
that was
yet.
good. It is really good and good in a way I was not expecting. Like Spider-Verse, it blends together several different types of artistic disciplines
Mhm.
into one movie. What I was not expecting about it was to be this kind of really sweet and genuine love letter to early 2000s internet and meme culture.
Oh, really?
Yes, the main character is a YouTuber. I fuck you not. And there's a lot of ways for that to be really obnoxious and really shitty, but it totally isn't.
Okay.
This is also maybe one of Danny McBride's best dramatic performances. He plays the dad in the movie, and I was not expected for him to plumb the depths that he plumbs in his
Oh, that's
vocal
pretty cool.
performance.
That's cool.
It's really good. Yeah, there's just a lot to really like about that movie. Very funny, very original. It's one of those movies that hits you even harder when you find out, like, oh, they like turned this movie down at the big studios 5 times, and they only got it made when Spider-Verse took off and became a huge hit.
Yeah, yeah, and now because I have seen it being talked about, it seems to be very popular. So it's like that hindsight is
Yeah.
2020.
Another example that studio bigwigs know absolutely nothing, and also when given the choice between a new original idea and something that's part of a brand and pre-existing, they're gonna pick the pre-existing thing every time.
It's really strange as well because as you said, it's like about like meme culture or like
Yeah,
YouTubers and stuff. You would have thought like one of them would be like, "Huh, my kids are into those memes and the
you'd think.
YouTubers. We'll make a movie about that."
You would totally think that, and it's even funny too because I know, what is it? When Netflix got it, they've even forced them to change the title at one point. It was toured as, The Mitchells versus the Machine Forever, and then they changed it to Connected because, studio groups say one-word titles are really in right now for animated movies, and eventually, they were able to fight it and actually get it back to the original title, so I'm like, "Wow, this is a movie that they basically tried to stifle at every step, and yet it still came out and people fucking loved it, proving
Yeah.
that no one knows anything." It's a really nice story. What about you? What were you watching? What were you checking out?
Well, I just checked out Jupiter's Legacy, which debuted
Yay!
on Netflix as well. The Mark Millar, Frank Quitely comic
Right.
book,
My
and
my mom started that today too. She's multiple episodes ahead of me, and she's like, "Hey, have you seen this Jupiter's Ascending thing?" And my big thing is like, "Well, I didn't read the comics, so I'll feel like a phony if I start the show."
I haven't read the comic either, and I quite enjoyed the show. I haven't really paid attention to what like people who've read the comic and watched the
Right.
show think of it, but yeah,
I don't
I
know
quite
anyone who
enjoyed it.
has.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. Like, yeah, I've seen it advertised quite a fair bit, but I don't know actually anyone who's actually read the comic.
Much like Sweet Tooth, yet another big thing coming to Netflix is like, "Oh yeah, that's that comic I saw. Yeah, I always saw the cover and walked right past it to get Marvel and DC books, but I guess someone must have liked it because they turned it into a thing."
I'll tell you this, like having not read the comic and going into the show, I could feel that Mark Millar wanted to write a Superman family led Justice League book, but Kingdom
Right.
Come already existed.
Ah, that's
Because
funny.
that is it. Because like the main character, the Utopian, is literally Superman.
Of
He's
course.
got a son who like a big plot point is his son kills, and he's got a they can't do that because they got to live up to the code, the
Mm.
code that they all enforce, and all the young heroes don't really give a shit because it's like Magog's
Mhm.
leading them, and there's like
Oh,
hints of
nice.
like Kingdom Come all through it.
Right. Okay. Well, here's the thing too. I didn't even know it was a Mark Millar thing. Now I probably will check it out because, as we have seen time and time again, Mark Millar's books often make for better adaptations.
Well, a lot of the times they actually sell to Netflix or like a studio before he's even written them.
Also, that
But
too.
this
Is
was
it?
one of the things where like the book was actually fully finished before they actually
Yeah. Yeah.
optioned the rights.
Is this part of the big Millarverse? I know we kept talking about that forever, that Netflix was really betting on that after they lost the Marvel shows.
I have no idea. I don't think it would be. It has to be like its own, because this is like a whole world filled with like superheroes and everything. It
Right.
has to be different from everything else.
I hear Tyler Mane is in this too, and he's
Yes.
really good.
Yeah, yeah. He's like the one of the main bad guys, Black Star. And yeah,
Right.
he's pretty cool in it.
I have always very much liked Tyler Mane, and I know his whole thing as Sabretooth is he just looked big and intimidating and never said anything. He's a really underrated physical actor. I feel like people don't give enough credit for that he can do a whole performance without words. So I'm like, oh, they let him talk in this. Holy shit.
Yeah, they let him talk and be kind of like a smart guy as well.
Not wow, he's really playing against type. Holy shit.
Yeah. Oh, he's still like the big like meathead,
Hmm.
like muscle villain sort of thing. But yeah, there's that extra like dimension to him.
Right. Okay. Oh, someone in the chat says they actually have read Sweet Tooth and enjoyed it. Okay, you're the first then. Thank you. I can now go back to that. Another thing I like about Sweet Tooth is that it's Jeff Lemire, who is a Canadian, and it's his Image series, so you know he made a lot of money off the back of that,
Yeah, yeah.
which is always nice to see because whenever they make a new Batman or Spider-Man or something, none of those creators are making any money either because they're long dead and their families long since lost the rights. But with a new indie comic thing, like, man, not only is that guy getting the money, but he actually gets to spend it now. Have I told you my Jeff Lemire story that despite him being Canadian and going to all the same cons as me, I've never actually met him?
Yeah, yeah, you've said that, yeah.
I've never met him, which means I can only assume that he is dodging me for some personal
It's
reason.
like, oh no, there's that YouTuber.
Uh-oh, but even though I have only praised his stuff with praise, maybe I liked his Green Arrow work a little too much. He's like, man, this guy is way too into this. He's gonna lock me up all misery style and be like, hey man, what happened next? I don't want to have to break your legs, but what would have happened next if you had kept written? So that's funny. You also got some horror action in your life. Apparently, you've been playing the new Tall Woman Simulator, also known as Resident Evil Village.
Well, I've been playing that, but before I started playing that, I started playing Returnal. Um,
Oh yeah, which looks great.
it's fucking amazing, and again, that's like another game I knew there was horror aspects in it, but I didn't expect the type of horror that it had in it.
Mm,
Is a very very cool game. Basically, you're stuck in like a time loop where every time you die, you reset to the start of the actual game with your ship crashing,
mm.
and then you got to go through the whole game without dying, and till you get to the end and finish off the last bosses and whatnot. And yeah, it's so fun. It's I guess classed as a bullet hell game because it's
And a roguelike.
a roguelike bullet hell, and yeah, a little bit of RPG in there.
Yeah,
Because
it's
you
a
can,
real genre stew that's very interesting.
yeah, because you can customize like your weapons and like what like, oh, I have this parasite that allows me to pick up more money and all that sort of
Mm.
stuff. Yeah, it's a load of fun, and it's I thought I was gonna get so frustrated with like dying and having to reset, but I haven't yet. I think one time I did, and it was just like a fault of my own, like I dodged off a cliff and died.
Mm.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun, a lot of good variety and enemies as well.
It looks super cool. I was trying not to look at too much of it because I
Hmm.
didn't want to spoil the story for myself for when I eventually do pick up and play it when I get a PlayStation 5, which me and everyone else in the world might be waiting because apparently that special chip processor that Sony needs, no one can get now because of the pandemic, a fire at one of the factories, that big boat being stuck and slowing down trade to the point where Sony's like, maybe we actually need to change how this thing is made if we actually want people to be able to play our games.
Yeah, they're gonna make it with a different piece or something. Yeah.
I cannot believe that 2020 and 2021 fucked up so bad they had to change how the PlayStation is made. And all the people in their ivory towers like you with your PlayStation
Yes.
sitting there drinking your mint juleps being like, it's good to have processors. Uh-oh, hide the processors, everyone. Poor people coming. Now, how's Resident Evil, which I swore would be the first game I actually would play on the PlayStation 5 when I actually got it.
It's thoroughly enjoyable. I really enjoy it. It hits all the right notes. for me when it comes to a Resident Evil game. I went into this game pretty much blind. I never
Yeah.
played any of the demos. I watched like I think the first reveal trailer and like one of the trailers that sort of introduced you to like the four houses that
Yeah,
are
yeah.
part of it. But yeah, it's great. It's like it's kind of like a dark fairy tale
It looked
in the
like it, yeah.
story, and there is fairy tale concepts in there because the game actually starts with like one of the characters telling a fairy tale to a child.
Interesting.
But yeah, no, all the areas I've been to so far, I haven't finished the game yet, but all the areas I've been to have been so great because there's like four different areas with the four
Of
houses,
course.
and each
Classic
like
Capcom.
and each are like a different type of horror. So like you got the big castle with the big vampire mummy and
Mm,
her daughters and that, and then you've got like a fishing hamlet which is like deep sea creatures and weird like
naturally.
Cthulhu stuff, and a big
Someone told me
factory.
there's Frankensteins.
Yeah, yeah. In the factory, there's like body horror, like Frankenstein's, like
Hot
like
damn.
zombies made out of like airplane propellers that are chainsaws and all that. And then there's the last house, which is probably some of the most terrifying stuff I've ever seen in a video game. Which is like a haunted house where you get chased around the house by a giant mutated fetus.
Oh yeah, and there's creepy dolls too, because it's
Yes,
like, yeah, we're
yes,
we're hitting all the monsters. We got
yeah,
vampires, werewolves, zombies, also creepy dolls. Don't
yeah.
forget that.
Everything's in this game.
That's fucking dope. Super psyched about all of that. I am so down. Now all I gotta do is get an actual PlayStation 5. But I bet it looks great.
It does. It looks fantastic. The photo mode in it is really great as well. You get some really great shots on there, and yeah, with the 4K and ray tracing, it just looks fantastic.
It's a little bit more action focused too, which again is super cool. How I never even played RE7, like because it was always on my list. Like, gotta play that. Now I guess I have time to.
Well, yeah. Well, again, this is like a follow up to Resident Evil 7.
Is
The
it
start of the
sweet?
game there is like a recap. You can like recap
Of course.
but yeah, I suggest you definitely play it because it's a Resident Evil 7 compared to 8 is a completely different game.
Yeah, they look like two completely different animals, which is fine by me. They
Yeah,
can be good and in their own series, and I mean that's Resident Evil in general. There's something for every taste going on in the
absolutely.
franchise. I made maybe a bad choice this week, and I'm like, huh, I haven't touched Destiny 2 ever, but now they have basically a brand new free to play mode with like the first year of DLC and everything in there. Maybe I should fire that up and see what's going on. And I was actually quite pleasantly surprised because back when we worked at Name Redacted, we actually played a lot of that game, and I had gotten fairly far in it, so it was pretty nice to turn on Destiny 2 and be like, "Oh, look, my hunter is waiting for me. Holy shit!" And he's actually higher level than I would be if I started. So yeah, I've been playing that. I think I'm like level 7 or 8 power right now. Oh, thank you, Pat Senior, for hosting the stream. And yeah, number go up and shoot bangs go shoot. So that's what I've been doing, and I'm enjoying it, even if there is this feeling of like, man, I'd probably get way more out of this if I had a group of people to play with.
Yeah, I have Destiny on PlayStation, but I think it's like free to play on PC anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always like tempted to get into it, but I'm like, yeah, it's too grindy.
There's definitely a lot going on. What is it? I tried playing Crucible. I tried playing like the versus mode with other players. Man, if you really want your balls crushed super hard, I recommend trying that. You will not last longer than 3 seconds. Luckily, our mutual friend Mitch is like, no one plays the Crucible unless they're a freaking masochist anymore. Just do strikes, just do your daily bounties if you want to upgrade and everything. And I love in no time anyone said like, oh, but the best way to deal with the story is they're like, no. Here's the thing that blew my fucking mind, and I had to have people explain this to me. So apparently they took out the entire story mode of Destiny 2, and your like first tutorial mission when you fire it up is just a remake of the tutorial mission from the first Destiny.
Really?
Yes.
Why did they take it out?
Apparently the game was too big, like the file size was getting too big, and most of the hardcore fans didn't like the story of Destiny 2 anyway, so they said fuck it, let's just get rid of all the story content and basically just put in the stuff you like.
So instead, so they kind of did it an opposite of like how like say Call of Duty does it, where it can gives you the
Yes.
choice. Where it's like you want to install multiplayer or the single player.
Yeah.
and you can take parts out and everything. They just took it out without giving you the option. What the
They
fuck?
just took they just took it out. It's like, look, just get to what you want anyway. And on one hand, I almost kind of respect that, where they're like, look, we know you're not playing for the story. We know 90% of you fast forward past it anyway. So look, like obviously there's still story and still cutscenes and shit in there, but it's only for people who like really have a big boner for this universe anyway. In which case, like if any of you could tell me what's actually going on here,
That's
I
the
don't
thing.
want
Yeah, I have no idea what the story of Destiny or planets,
yeah.
people riding scooters, and I don't know.
The Traveler and the Light and the Red Legion and yeah, these are words I know about. I recognize some of these words. So that's what I've been doing. I've just been flushing hours of my life looking for shinier and shinier capes. And I'm gonna get them one of these days. And with that, I think we could officially hop into what we read this week. I think this might have been one of the longest preambles we've ever done, Matt. We talked for almost 30 minutes
Yeah.
just about our weeks and shit.
Hey, we had a lot to catch up on.
I guess, yeah, this is what happens when we take 2 weeks off. All right, what's our first piece of news here? Oh, hey, so DC Fandome, remember that, Matt? The first one was really good, and the second one felt really icky and bad because they had it after they fired everyone and restructured the whole company.
Yeah, and they just dumped it online.
Just dumped it online and said, fuck you, we're not even making a big deal about it anymore. Well, guess what? We're doing it again, actually, in October 17th. No word yet if this is going to be a good one or if this is going to be a farted out one. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we willed this into existence because I'm sure
Very.
the week before this was announced, we actually talked about it. It was like, is this coming back this year? We don't know. It's not really been announced yet.
Like, I love DC Fandom in theory. I love the evolution of, like, no one really needs Comic-Con anymore. No one needs any of these places to make announcements anymore. People can just do their own thing. And the first Fandom, actually pretty goddamn well put together, I would say.
It was pretty damn good.
It was pretty enjoyable. Again, it reminded me of the better parts of, like, E3 and, like, stuff that you would wake up early and watch all the stuff for.
Yeah, yeah.
It felt like an actual event. Maybe third time is the charm and they can bring back some of that. Lord knows, I think they have enough to talk about now. You know, a Harley season 3, Peacemaker, probably Titans season 3, and everything else. It seems like they actually have enough content to talk about now.
That
That
by then they'll have movies actually been made. The Suicide Squad would have been out. They can talk about the Batman, Black Adam, the Flash, which is filming at the moment.
People in the States are actually getting vaccinated, which means production can ratchet back up again. Naomi on the CW, all that other stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, it seems like they might actually have shit to talk about. Yeah, hopefully Young Justice 4, I guess we'll see. So yeah, this could potentially be pretty great. And maybe if we're lucky, there might actually be comic book things there too.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully they'll remember they actually are a comic book company. In the C in DC, it stands for comics.
I don't know, man. It didn't feel like that. Sometimes they're like, oh yeah, and we also have comic books, don't we?
Yeah, yeah.
Fandom, for better or worse, is more of like DC, everything that's not comic books.
I mean, I like to think because it's in October, it's, you know, near the end of the year, they could use it as an opportunity to be like, and this what's coming next year in comics.
If they were smart, yeah, because it's like, hey, we're done our big summer events, everyone. We've had our first year of Infinite Frontier. So like, what do we got next?
Yeah, what's next from Joshua Williamson or whoever else is going to be in charge?
Yeah, by which we mean Joshua Williamson, because we basically, what is it, put the entire storylines and everything else on his back and said, go.
Yes, he's writing everything now.
Hey, Joshua Williamson, you made people give a shit about Flash for 100 issues. Can you make people give a shit about our entire line for the next little bit for 100 issues? And he's like, I'll certainly try. And they're like, good, go for it. Because, yeah, literally everything in DC right now, all roads lead back to shit Joshua Williamson wrote. And a couple years before, it was all roads lead back to something
Scott Snyder wrote.
Or Jeff Johns wrote. It's like every year DC picks the guy who will be the guy this year. It's like, well, maybe we should share the load and maybe we should all, you know, do evenly. No. One guy. Succeed or fail. One guy. If you come out the other end of this, then you get a gold candy or something.
You get to move up a tier in which hero you get to write.
Yeah, exactly. You get to go up.
So Williamson went from like Flash and you moved up a tier so he can write Robin.
Matt, are you saying that the DC comic company is basically a pyramid scheme, and if you sell
Yes.
enough, you get to move up a Phaeton
Yes.
level? Oh, the funny thing is you're probably more right than you know. I'm sure comic writers are like, "Yeah, it feels like a freaking pyramid scheme sometimes." But yeah, there's DC Fandom. Hopefully it'll be good. Lord knows whenever it comes out, it usually makes for a good show on our end.
Oh yeah, last year's one was so damn good.
I think our post DC Fandom episode was actually like our most watched episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, so more power to them for that. What else do we got going on here? Ooh, the Marvel Cinematic Universe put out a big sizzle reel trailer for everything they got coming to us in what is now being known as Phase 6. And man, do they know exactly what they need to do to pull the heartstrings and get people really invested by literally having the voice of Stan Lee talk about it all.
That was goddamn good trailer.
Man, whoever cut that, whoever works in marketing, they earned their money and probably deserve a raise after that.
Absolutely.
Because, we live in a cynical age. It's really easy to shit talk the biggest media company in the world, basically controlling every aspect of what we watch and getting us excited for the next big thing. But you know what? When they do it like this, they make you believe, don't they?
They really do.
And I think this was like a really special moment too, because this is basically the Disney Corporation saying, yes, Stan Lee, he is not with us anymore, but we are sanctifying him on the same level we would Walt Disney, and he will live forever through these movies now because of this. He is part of pop culture and he can basically never die,
Yeah, yeah.
which is a nice thought. And oh, that bit with Chadwick Boseman too, it's like, that man is your brother. I'm just like, oh God, it hurts. Oh God. But so good at the same time. Yeah, we got some stuff there for Eternals. We got to see a little bit of what that's all about. We got to see big, strong Kumail Nanjiani once again.
Dwarfing everyone else in the cast.
He's so big and so strong now, everyone. Surely this Kumail Nanjiani will devour us all. He is so big and strong. My favorite thing about Kumail Nanjiani getting ripped is he's like, "Look, guys, I promise I'll get fat and interesting again when this is done. I promise. I'm not gonna get ripped and become a dickhead."
Wrong. Marvel now owns that body. It's trademarked because he
It's
went through the trademark Marvel
workout machine.
workout machine, so they now own his body. They got a barcode on the back of his forehead. And
He's been so great in interviews too, where it's like, yeah, I got super ripped like a comic book character, and all it took was the finest meal plans,
yeah,
finest physical trainers, and finest, workout machines that a mega corporation could buy. And oh yeah, it was just my job for 6 months
yeah.
to
This
get
this,
super
this costs
ripped,
millions of dollars to get me like this. How
to
can
get me
anyone,
like
any
this.
normal person do this?
Which is so nice and refreshing, where it's like, yeah, anyone can do it if you have millions of dollars and it's your only
Yeah,
job.
yeah.
But yeah, Eternals looking cool, looking kind of different there. We got a little bit more for Shang-Chi. We got like more stuff there, more release dates. We finally know when a bunch of stuff is going to release now.
Yeah, yeah, Black Panther, which is now being called Wakanda Forever, which is a really great
Mhm.
title.
It is.
Yeah, that's coming out. I don't have the exact date on when that's coming out though.
We already knew when Black Widow is coming out. That one comes out in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So that one comes out next. Then we got the Loki show coming down the pipeline. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming real fast.
Yep. We got Captain Marvel 2, which is now called The Marvels.
Yes, that's right, because it's going to have Monica Rambeau in it and Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, who, hey, set photos of her costume leaked out this week, and holy shit, it looks great.
It looks exactly like the comics.
Looks perfectly comic accurate. And I, like most people, I'm sure, thought, like, oh, well, surely we're going to have to go through like an awkward Spider-Man costume in the beginning until she gets to her real one. Nope, we're doing it right away.
I think we are getting like a kind of proto costume. I know there's been set photos of her wearing something similar, but it's like just normal clothes that kind of sort of look like the costume. And there have been set photos of her in an actual Captain Marvel costume, like a
Oh, but
Halloween
yeah.
party or something.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun. I like that. What else was there? They did so much back to back that I feel like I'm forgetting something.
There was the Loki show.
Ant-Man and Wasp,
Yep.
Quantumania, which we knew was coming anyway.
Yeah, they teased Fantastic Four again.
They did. No release date, but they're like, "Hey, everyone, don't forget this is going to be the next thing in Phase 6. This is coming."
The way they're building it up as well, just like showing logos and stuff and like slightly teasing it, yeah, makes me think this is going to be like what all of this is building towards.
Yeah, somehow, some way building to Fantastic Four because yeah, a lot of what's happening in this new phase we're in right now, it's like, okay, well, what are we building up to now that we don't have a big Avengers film? They haven't like announced the thing where it's like, oh, all roads lead to this.
What? Yeah. Again, it has. Again, I feel like I don't think they're gonna. They're obviously not gonna um make the Fantastic Four debut in like an Avengers film. That doesn't really make
No,
much sense. But like,
no, of course
I
not.
think it's building to like the Avengers film that they usually build towards will actually just be the Fantastic Four film. Because you look
Right,
at like
because
all the different
big caps.
projects they're doing, and they're doing like multiverse stories. Kang is involved with the Loki show and the Ant-Man movie. So like all these like Fantastic Four adjacent characters are
Mhm.
like being built up before that movie.
The chat too is saying, "Don't we have Young Avengers?" They have not announced Young Avengers, but they sure are seeding the
Oh
shows with a
yeah.
lot of characters that could become Young Avengers. Likewise, seeding the shows with characters that could be part of a potential Thunderbolts thing at some point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And maybe Skrulls too. There might also be Skrulls running around that we don't even know about.
Yeah, again, for Secret Invasion coming up.
Yeah, there could be Skrulls. Who even knows anymore? But yeah, I mean, it was a very cool trailer. Hit me right in the feels, which clearly they had meant for that to do. It was
Oh, yeah.
meticulously engineered
Oh, absolutely.
to do just that. It made me feel warm and fuzzy and real nice. And yeah, I mean, that's really all you can say about it.
Yeah, I like as well that they dropped it like the day before Star Wars Day as well. So it's like you
Yeah,
get the Marvel stuff, and then you can come watch the Bad Batch and like talk about Star Wars and everything. It's great.
that was Bad Batch. We got 2 episodes back to back there.
We did, and they were both really excellent.
First one was basically a goddamn mini movie. I was so stoked to turn that on and be like, oh, this is over an hour? Fuck yeah.
It was like 70 minutes long or something.
Yeah, it was quite long. We meet up with the Bad Batch not long after or well, right before Order 66, so we actually
Well,
get to see where they were when it
the
happened.
the the opening is literally the Kanan comic.
Yes, it is. I could not believe that. I was so super stoked to get to see young little Caleb Dune.
Yeah, yeah, that was really cool. Setting up, getting Freddie Prince Jr. to come in and voice a 12-year-old. It's a bit weird, but yeah, I
Young
thought
version of himself.
I thought that was cool. We got to see him. I think there was a little bit of a contradiction, but who gives a shit? Uh,
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. I'm like, I don't think it went right. Like, yeah, I don't fucking care. I'm just happy the Bad Batch
yeah,
are here.
yeah. This is a visual medium, so this part's canon. This is canon now.
Absolutely.
Um,
It was interesting too to see where it's like, well, who are the Bad Batch gonna fight in this show? Oh, they turned Crosshair. Interesting.
I like that a big part of the show as well, since we got to see like the Bad Batch react to like all of the clones turning on the Jedi and everything. I like that a big part of the show was the Empire like stifling individuality,
Yes,
and
very much so.
and who's no more individual than these clones, which are they're all literally just like defective clones.
Tech says it perfectly in the last episode where it's like, huh, all we clones ever wanted was a name instead of a number, and now the Empire is making people have numbers instead of names.
You know, that last episode, I can't believe they actually went in detail about like the chain codes and everything, because
Me
The
too.
Mandalorian set that up perfectly, because they kept talking about chain codes, and that's how like the bounty hunters track
Yep.
targets and everything. And it's like, here we are, have the birth of the chain codes, and it makes total sense.
The actual origin of the freaking chain code. Also, to Imperial credits, where it's like, look, we're getting rid of all your money and everything is now Imperial credits, so no one will ever have that Qui-Gon Jinn problem ever again. I thought that was funny. Oh, we got Omega, who is our first female clone, and we even joked about that when we saw the show. Like, how funny would it be if she was a female clone? Oh, holy shit, she is.
And she's really interesting as well.
She is. Clearly, they seek to imply that the Kaminoans created her to serve some other greater purpose that we
Well,
have yet to see.
well, she's a defective clone as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have yet to see, but it like from what she did with like in that cell in that first episode with Crosshair, there's like latent force abilities, or like she can
Or
tap into
something.
like the empathy sort of thing. And so like my theory is that like she's a clone made from like Jango Fett's stuff, and later on we see her with like one of those laser bows that the Night Sisters use.
Yeah, yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
like, oh, what if she's like spliced with like Night Sister DNA?
She can also shoot, which is another thing, despite the fact that she never held a blaster before,
Hmm.
but she was just like genetically able to shoot and actually almost outshoot a guy like Crosshair,
Yeah.
which is pretty freaking cool. So yeah, there's a lot going on with her. I also love this idea too for Star Wars, where it's the Baby Yoda effect. No, no, no. Every cool badass team now needs a precocious young tag along to humanize them and tether them
Yeah.
to the rest of humanity. And I'm like, yep, she's doing that job pretty well.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was kind of worried because I'm like, again, like they're doing the Baby Yoda thing. Like, is this gonna get like kind of grating? It's just gonna be a wacky kid getting in the way of these badass, bad
Yeah.
batches. It's like, no, she's actually quite good, and
And she serves a very important
yeah,
purpose too. And that is like, look, Clone Wars was all about soldiers at war and the toll that takes on the human heart and mind and everything. And Bad Batch so far seems to be, what do we do when the war is over? And how do we ever come home again? Essentially, which is crazy for clones because clones have never had a home anyway.
yeah. How do people who are bred for war and war only, what do they do after the war ends?
Which is why I loved that they brought back Cut the
Cut,
Deserter from that other episode.
cut and sue. Yeah.
Yeah, which is really fun. I'm like, who are they meeting on this planet? Oh, it's the Deserter from the
I
episode The Deserter.
I knew they were meeting because in the first episode they mentioned J19, and that's the code for Salukami that Obi-Wan decoded in an episode of the Clone
Right,
Wars.
right. Man, the freaking canon runs so deep here.
It does. Well, Dave Filoni, man,
He knows his shit, doesn't he?
he
But yeah,
does.
Bad Batch is good. Bad Batch is solid, everyone.
Yeah.
But we're not done with news yet, everybody. August, we got the next big X-Men event. Yes, Hellfire Gala is coming, but that's not going to be the end of it because in August we have the trial of Magneto.
Yeah, Magneto's probably finally getting put on trial for all like the kind of almost Hitler-esque shit he's been saying in like Way of X.
Which my favorite thing too is like, oh hey, he's finally on trial. What did he do? And in the back of my mind, I'm like, no, what did he do this time?
what didn't he do?
I love too. He dug out his old trench coat from the Cullen Bunn solo series, and he's wearing that again.
Yeah.
It's a good look. Yeah, the trial of Magneto, because it seems like in every other book, all these big X-Men leaders like him and Shaw and Sinister and everyone, they keep breaking the rules, but they keep always being able to skirt it and never being in trouble. But now finally Magneto has gotten himself in trouble.
Yeah, so it begs the question, like, what the fuck did he do? Or
Yeah.
now this is another thing. Like this is obviously one of these big X-Men books. Like, could this be like a sort of bait and switch where it's like the trial of Magneto? Everyone thinks it's like, oh yeah, it's court trial and everything. But what if it's like trial as in he goes through a set of trials?
Very possible.
Yeah.
That could be very possible. Again, will Moira come back in this? Is Moira putting her foot down and being like, look, you got to do something about him?
Hopefully, yeah. We haven't. Hickman needs to answer that question finally. It's been
Where
2.5 years.
what is Moira doing? She's hanging out in her special little pod there, just twiddling her thumbs. I mean, we know why Moira can't come out and hang out with everyone else. It's because she has knowledge of every possible future, and any little thing she does could fuck up what they're doing.
Yeah, and she's technically a precog, so and they don't like
Also,
that. So
also too, apparently the next X-Men issue is going to focus on Mystique again, and obviously Mystique is out for her blood because Mystique knows what's up.
yep.
So that's going to be a thing. Also, her freaking Legion's not her son. Proteus is her son.
No.
Yeah, Legion is running around too, and Legion basically is threatening to blow the whole thing wide open.
Yeah, Legion knows all about why precogs aren't there.
Yeah, really. So
She
a
doesn't
lot of,
like when I read that way we talked about it, but like when I read Ray of X, I'm like, really, Charles, like you didn't like go and like sort out your son who's an Omega level mutant who
Nope.
has like mind powers, like you really didn't sort him out, really.
bad dad Xavier remains unchallenged. Again, let us not remember he's got an alien daughter too with Lalandra, and when she was kidnapped and in trouble, he just sent like Storm and people to go check it out. He didn't go himself.
No, yeah, he's a terrible father.
Bad dad Chuck at it again. Man, between him and Magneto, who's the worst father? That's why they're buddies. They just sit around and trade secrets about how to be a worse parent.
I made
Oh,
my daughter a pariah to our entire race.
wow. Yeah, I was cool with them making my kid a pariah to our entire community, a literal boogie person. Hey, what about your son, the super fast one? I don't even fucking know where he is.
Who?
He disappeared into the not speed force, and no pun intended, but no one is in any rush to bring him back. Friggin' Wolverine looks at them from across the bar and it's like, I'm a better father than you. Wrap your guys' heads around that. I killed one of my children and I'm still a better father than you. My kid had it coming, and I'm a pretty good father to Laura. To say nothing of all the other children I have adopted over the years.
Yeah.
Man, that's nuts. But yeah, Trial of Magneto coming soon. What could it be about? I don't know. Could be about anything, but looks pretty
Do we know
cool.
who's writing it?
No, they haven't said yet. Just we just got this promotional art by John Romita Jr. I'm assuming if it's a big crossover, everyone gets a crack at it.
Yeah, Teeny Howard or Jonathan Hickman and all those people.
I'm hoping if this is a big Magneto-centric story, we will see the return of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver in some variety.
Have to. They've been dropping too many hints at Scarlet Witch over there, and the Scarlet Witch was part of that empire that, like, when she went to Genosha and everything.
Yeah, was part of the crossover, and then we never saw her again. Yeah, I'm really waiting for those chickens to come home to roost.
Yeah.
Especially now, because they can, like, work it out again to be like, no, we actually are your kids. None of that, like, high evolutionary shit that we mentioned. Oh, thank you, Ambitious Cosplay. Hello
Thank
to
you.
you. Oh, you know what it is? The Trial of Magneto. It's a paternity suit, is what it is. It's Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch.
Maury's
back.
coming to Krakoa.
Yeah, that's what it is. Eric Lenscher, you are the father of these children. Don't believe that last retcon from Axis. That was bullshit. You actually are the father. You know, he is actually the father, and Moira changed that around because reasons, as we'll discover.
Oh yeah, reasons.
God damn it, if I end up being right about this, and that's actually what it's about.
Yeah, he's on trial because they can't get Scarlet Witch. He's on trial for the crimes of his daughter or something.
Right, we decided to punish you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be something. What else do we got going on? Ooh, here's some fun news. Chip Zdarsky is going to be writing a Hulk story for the Avengers Hulk book in Free Comic Book Day, and because a lot of people in the States are getting vaccinated, we might actually have a good Free Comic Book Day this year. I mean, I probably still won't be fucking vaccinated by then at this rate, but still, other people might be able to go to the stores, and that's pretty cool.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. And again, like Chip Zdarsky's really doing the rounds. He's writing this. He's doing that Batman Urban Legends thing. He's got a Justice League book starting this week.
Strength to strength, the man, I tell you.
Yeah, again, it's like kind of quelling those rumors of like exclusivity between these companies, because again, like, as well, we've got like Philip Kennedy Johnson on like the Superman books and Alien and all that sort of stuff. Like all those contracts have gone kind of by the wayside.
Yep. If you were to make a ranking, like a power ranking of the writers and artists who have benefited the most from this lack of exclusivity in the modern era, I would say Zdarsky is a major front runner.
Absolutely.
And this, of course, has led a lot of people to wonder, hey, if Zdarsky is going to be writing the Hulk for this Free Comic Book Day story, does that mean that he could potentially be picking up the book once Al Ewing's run comes to an end? And that run's coming to an end very soon. It ends at 50, and 46 came out this week.
That's interesting. Yeah, I could see that. I could see it.
I
That'd
mean,
be a pretty good writer to pick up.
it would. I mean, the man's been hitting everything out of the park. He, as we have seen with Daredevil, he does good job writing stories about, humanity and, like, people trying to fit in and, dark sides and everything too. All great Hulk stuff.
Yeah. The only thing I could see that is that would that be considered too close to what Al Ewing did? Like it's just like not something is different. I'm sure we've talked about it before. It's like, well, they have to change things up now. They've done like the dark, serious stories. What do you do next?
They should probably change it completely and do something in another different direction. Well, Chip Zdarsky is funny too. People forget that he cut his teeth writing like Rocket Raccoon and shit.
Yeah, they could make it sort of like a tragic, like a kind of dark comedy.
It could,
sort of thing. Yeah.
He also did Sex Criminals too, which I forgot he
Hmm.
actually did the art for that book.
Hmm.
Maybe it's an erotic thriller with the Hulk.
I'd read that.
Hulk smash, but it
Hey,
means very different things.
the internet loves giant muscular people who want
It's
to
true. And
step on
monsters.
people. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, do it.
The Hulk goes to Silicon Valley and meets a scummy porn producer. It's like, look, my Jade Giant, I could make so much money with ya. You big, and the internet's filled with filthy monster fuckers. So I'm just saying, we got a whole new line of films. It's called Hulk Smash. Nah, not that way. Oh man, it just becomes Boogie Nights with the Hulk. Oh, Hulk need drugs, keep up performance. Hulk drink himself to sleep. Oh, War Machine is here too because same actor. Boogie Nights. It's a fun thing we're making. That's good shit. Yeah, it would be fun to see him pick that up, and this definitely becomes a free comic book day issue that I want to read because they
Mm.
did free comic book day last year, and there was just like really nothing worth picking up.
Not really, no. Again, because like the pandemic, middle of the pandemic,
Yep.
everyone was shut down. They didn't really have much to offer.
None of it mattered. None of it mattered.
Yeah.
Uh, Moving on from there to some other cool, interesting things, and also about new runs that are starting. When Ta-Nehisi Coates is done with Captain America, which will also be coming to an end soon, Christopher Cantwell begins a brand new series called The United States of Captain America, which will see Steve Rogers travel across America and meet a bunch of regional Captain Americas, crime fighters inspired by him. It's basically Batman Inc., but with Captain America. And, we saw Rail Rider, the rail riding LGBT defending Captain America who bare knuckle boxes people. And the newest Captain America we've seen, his name is Joe Gomez. I'm not sure what his superhero name is just yet, but yeah, he is the Kickapoo native Captain America. And holy shit, his costume looks good.
It's pretty fucking bitchin' costume.
God damn. And also the idea of having a First Nations Captain America is so genius and so baller because it's like, hey man, I was America before America was America.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting way to take the character, and again, like Christopher Cantwell, he's doing it with like all of these Captain Americas. U.S. agents even involved in it because the last U.S. agent issue from Christopher Priest leads into this.
Oh, nice, nice.
And yeah, so he's getting like everyone who's ever had that shield involved in this story.
It's such a no-brainer and such a great concept because again, I had mentioned Batman Inc. before. Hey, you like Batman? What if there was a Batman for every nation, including the one you're in? Hey, you like Captain America? What if every region and every aspect of America had their own Captain America?
It's genius, and like, how has that not been done before?
It seems like such a slam dunk. They're probably like, oh, that could potentially dilute the brand. No, the brand is incredibly strong and incredibly endearing. Literally since World War II, he'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah.
This is so great too because this is like, man, these are all characters that they could potentially build movies and TV around if they ended up being, popular enough. And I don't see how some of these won't end up being huge characters. Also, too, this one in particular, there's a co-writer that's actually getting involved in this one too, and they are an actual native person from the Kickapoo tribe. I want to say their name is Little Bear, something Bear.
Yeah, oh, I saw it just before. Little Badger?
Or something like that. But basically, the idea, yeah, Little Bear was a Canadian cartoon. I don't think that was the right one.
Oh no.
But yeah, basically the idea is that this one is legit, and this just isn't like a white guy telling this story. That like they're actually talking to the real people to try and make this as proper and authentic as they really can. Jane says, "I'd like to see a Latino Captain America." You're probably gonna get one in this because it
Oh,
looks
I'm
like
fairly
all of
certain.
America is being represented. And yeah, I want to see what Latino Captain America looks like in 2021. I want to see what all of them look like.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a very interesting book. Do we know how long this is going to be? Because this it
Uh,
sounds like a mini event.
Yeah, I want to say it's short because again, they're not saying that Cantwell's taking over Captain America, but this is going to be the thing what fills the Captain America void until they decide what the next is. Yeah, Little Badger, you were right. Darcy Little Badger was the one.
Yeah, I have a feeling Campbell will probably take it over. So then he's writing this. He's writing Captain America and Iron Man.
Yeah. Oh, also, I was wrong too. They aren't part of the Kickapoo tribe. They are Lipan Apache.
Apache.
Yeah, geoscience major, writer for Marvel. Oh, they did Nebula too and some other stuff.
Oh,
That's cool.
nice. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that Nebula book. Yeah,
Yeah. They did like 2 Nebula books back to back that actually had like interesting writing teams.
yeah.
Yeah, I want to say it's 6-2, Chad. I could be wrong. I want to say that that one's
Hmm.
right.
Hmm.
But yeah, this has definitely quickly gone to the top of my I gotta read this pile.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because I want to see what all these different Captain Americas are like, and so far the ones I've seen have been pretty fucking
They've
dope.
been pretty good.
This one especially, I want to hear what Joe Gomez, the native Captain America, has to say. Because the thing is, like, for so long, yeah, we were called Native American, but now we're seeing kind of like the push against that, where it's like, no, maybe don't call us Native American, because like American was the last thing we wanted to be. You guys forced that on us. So to see this guy actually take up the stars and stripes is like, okay, I imagine he has a very good reason.
Yeah, yeah. Again, I feel it could be like sort of taking back those
Hmm,
that name sort of thing, that the
very.
colors and everything. And yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued to see how they're going to handle this.
Yeah, without a doubt. Now, our next piece of news here is actually something that we don't talk about all that often, but this is actually kind of interesting. It's a piece of merch news, and that is the Venom sequel, Let There Be Carnage. I still can't fucking believe that's the actual subtitle they went with. They did it. Venom Let There Be Carnage merchandise, and it's pretty merchandise, isn't it? Look at that. Wouldn't you just be so happy to wear that?
It's like something you'd see in like the bargain bin of like a
We
Costco.
we have nicer shirts on our T Public store that no one buys, but we have
It's
them.
literally just like a logo t-shirt.
It's literally just a logo t-shirt, but you can actually buy this logo t-shirt at Disney.com at their merch store, which is pretty huge because what this essentially tells us is that whatever, rifts and schisms there may have been between the Disney people and between the Sony people over Spider-Man and over, all these different intellectual properties and everything, it looks like they've kind of shored it up now if Disney is feeling comfortable enough to sell Venom merchandise on their store.
Yeah, again, doesn't mean that Venom is in the MCU. It just means that that new deal they made recently uh is like in effect, and they've like sort of buried the hatchet, if you will.
And they're going to try and keep everyone happy, which, as we've seen with this and a lot of the weirder creative choices and what it looks like they're doing with the new Spider-Man movie, it looks like they're trying to keep everyone happy and keeping all the palms greased so they can continue on in the fashion they're doing. Now, again, I sung the praises of Lord and Miller at the beginning of the show because of the Mitchells and the Machine. I know they're involved in kind of all the Sony Spider-Man centric stuff now.
Sony Spider-Man United cinematic
Uh,
movie, the Sump course,
Oh, Scump. Yeah,
yeah,
Scump was what it was.
Kumquat or whatever it was called.
Yeah, the Kumquat universe. Yeah, that they're going to be more involved with that. Maybe they'll save it. I don't know. I think the best way to do a Venom sequel is literally lean into how fucking stupid it is and literally say we are the dumbest, worst thing ever.
Yeah, yeah.
Like make Tom Hardy into Charlie Brown, basically, where he just can never get ahead. Yeah, our hero, drunk Tom Hardy or Tom Holland, who called and saved the day. You're right. God bless him for that.
Yeah, Tom Hardy's not drunk. He's just sweaty.
He's just very, very sweaty. Tom Holland was drunk when he called to save everybody. He was that guy. Yeah, Scump is an anagram. Yeah, SPMUC, Spump. Good old Spump. Sounds like a terrible alien soda pop. Sounds like something in the Fallout universe. Drink a cold can of Spunk. And
Sprunk.
yes,
Isn't that the one from like GTA? Sprunk.
yes, it is.
Yeah.
Very close to Sprunk. And yes, Morbius is still happening at some point, though they've stopped doing trailers and updates
It's
for it.
coming next year or something. I don't fucking know.
Though maybe it's not. I would love them to be like, "What Morbius? What? No, we didn't talk about that. No, this is like a Bernstein Bears thing. We never said that there was going to be a Morbius movie. What are you talking about? No, there was a whole trailer and everything. No, there wasn't. No.
That sounds like Jared Leto talking about that movie Urban Legends. Did you see that?
No, I didn't
He made a
actually.
movie in the early 2000s called Urban Legends, and someone was interviewing him for something and just like mentioned it, and the man just he cannot remember making that film. Like I don't know whether it's like he just doesn't want to, or he was just so fucked up on drugs or did alcohol or something, I don't know, that he just doesn't remember that part of his life.
That's fine. He
And
probably won't.
he just kept on it and on it. It's like, I don't remember ever doing that film. Oh wow, this is news to me.
Just a lost weekend phase, waking up from his
Yeah,
own
that's
hangover.
what it was
What
like.
have
It's
I
like, I really
done?
did that movie. Get out of town. Wow.
What have I done? Oh God, what else have I done and don't remember doing? I didn't hit anyone in my car on the way over here, did I? That's what that sounds like. If I can black out a whole movie, what else can I black out? That's fine, because I imagine he'll be blacking out making Morbius too.
Yeah.
So there's your Venom news, everyone. There for all your hard-hitting Venom news. Be sure to keep your dial on the internet, because you dial in your internet. That's how it happens. So just dial it right in here to the comic vault.
I don't know about you, Joel, but I haven't had to use dial-up internet since like the 90s.
That's why we didn't have a show last week. Everyone my dial-up went out because someone else had to make a phone call.
A very long phone call.
Man, it's like when Red Letter Media did that whole episode where they filmed everything on like actual shitty videotape. We should do a whole we should do a whole show that's just on dial-up, and he's has like a 2040 resolution to it, like original YouTube. Like from the 2000s, that was what we should do.
Yeah.
Everyone will love it. Everyone will get the joke, and it won't be a huge disaster. No, see, if we did do that, Matt, then we wouldn't have to do a show next week or the week after or ever, because everyone would stop watching the show at that point. Patreon down to 0. Everyone done. That's what will kill the show. That's how you'll know when Matt and I are officially done. And with that, everyone, we can actually hop into what we read this week. And yeah, there was a lot of books this week.
There was a lot of books, and I was like straining to remember them because I had to pace them out throughout the week.
Yeah, same here.
But yeah, I guess we'll start with the big one, which was Heroes Reborn, issue 1.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. The heroes are reborning, and I'm so happy that you were here to keep me up on everything that's been happening in Aaron's Avengers, and also was I happy too that I didn't need to know any of it to get into this story, basically.
Yeah, they just kind of drop you right into the middle of it, and just as they do Blade. Yeah, you are Blade.
You are confused. You don't know what's happening.
Yeah, you're confused. You're angry, probably hungry.
Been eating rats and pigeons in London for a week. I do like homeless Blade's costume there. He's got the shirt with the cross on it and the trench coat with the hood and everything. It's actually a pretty good look. Leave it to Blade to try and be a shitty hobo and actually end up looking cool anyway.
He's a fashion icon now, but he's homeless.
He really, really is. It's like, man, are you really homeless, or are you just wearing the hottest new street fashion? I can't tell. But yeah, so he wakes up there and he's trying to hunt down all the Avengers because no one remembers the Avengers. He can't ring Avengers Tower because it doesn't exist.
Yeah, and Avengers like Jennifer Walters were never She-Hulk, and she runs a successful law firm in Los Angeles, and Bruce Banner, who did Hulk out, was exiled to the negative zone.
Yeah. Tony Stark never got that shrapnel in his chest, never became Iron Man, and stayed an amoral weapons dealer.
Yep, who is a drunk as well, as it's
also
implied by dialogue.
Yep, never stopped drinking, still an asshole. What is it? Carol Danvers, still in the military, but because she's such a maverick who doesn't follow orders, she never actually achieved the rank of captain.
And Thor never learnt humility, which is why he never found his hammer when he originally went to Earth, when his father originally sent him to Earth.
Which is probably the saddest one, and I'm like, man, then I remembered, yeah, that's right, Jason Aaron wrote Thor for like a decade. That's why this Thor bit is particularly sad. And hey, because Thor never learned humility, never raised the hammer, he never got to go back home. And because he never got to go back home, no one was able to save Asgard when God killed everybody.
Yep, so there's no Asgard now.
Which assumedly also means no Asgard-centric characters.
Nope.
And the characters we do have, was it because this is a world without Avengers? It's the Squadron Supreme, who are the only super team that anyone knows now, and they defend the entire world from weird fusion versions of old Marvel villains.
Yeah, but like fusions that make sense. Like we have Doctor Doom invading invading America because America brought democracy to Latveria, and
Doesn't like it.
and he does it because he lost the election, and he invades Washington with the Crimson Gem of Sidorak that turns him into Doctor Juggernaut.
That's Dr. Juggernaut. I didn't spend 10 years in Juggernaut Medical School to be called Mister. I love to. He's just literally on the front lawn of the White House, like, come out here and fight me, President.
Yeah, President Coulson.
Yeah, President Coulson, which, man, the irony was not lost on me either that Coulson was originally murdered by Deadpool at the orders of evil Captain America during Secret Empire so he could ascend as president. Now Coulson is back and basically doing the same thing.
Yeah, with most likely Mephisto's help.
Yeah, is what it seems to. I mean, they kind of seek to throw everything on him this issue, but Mephisto has been the main villain of Avengers basically since it started
Yeah,
under
it's
Aaron. So
like the B plots and C plots of the book have been Mephisto working in the shadows.
yeah. So the question is, who knows what and why is the world how it is, and how was Blade somehow able to retain his memory?
Yeah, but and we do know at least Nighthawk seems to know what's happened to the world.
Right, which also goes to show that probably the other Squadron Supreme members know too, but they're keeping it secret from everyone else.
Yeah, because that's what like Blade's trying to find out who knows and everything. That's why he goes to see Nighthawk, and he can tell by the look in his eyes that he knows.
Those two teaming up was actually a super awesome fight as they fight the henchman of the Black Skull, Johann Schmidt, if he had a symbiote.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
That is. There's a lot of really fun mashups there. There's that. There's the All Gog, who is Gog if he became the last All Father of Asgard. Thanos is just Thanos, but instead of in the Infinity Gauntlet, he has the 10 rings with stones in them.
The Infinity Rings. Yep.
The Infinity Rings. I'm like, okay, fine. That's, that is what it is. It's pretty fun. Who else was I missing there? Dr. Juggernaut. The Silver Witch, who, because Scarlet Witch never got to join the Avengers, she never got redeemed, and when her brother was killed, she absorbed his speed.
Yep, to become the Silver Witch, which is an awesome combination. That's so cool.
It is, and it also plays into a much bigger idea that I hope the rest of the series tackles, and that is the Avengers weren't just a great superhero team, they were a great force for rehabbing villains. So many of your favorite Avengers actually began life as villains, and if they weren't trusted by Cap and trusted by the Avengers, they may never have turned. And so because of that, there's actually more villains in this world. And obviously the Squadron Supreme has no interest in rehabbing anybody because they're all American exceptionalism, kill first, ask questions later.
Yeah, kill them, just throw them in the negative zone, because that's what it seeks to imply. Like all their villains, they just like throw them into the negative zone. Because like Doom apparently escaped from there, and Hulk's in there, and yeah, they just throw them all in there.
Which begs the question, if Doctor Doom is a Hyperion villain in this universe and they're throwing everyone in the negative zone, where are the Fantastic Four? Because they're the first family. They predate the Avengers.
I have to imagine they're probably still lost in space or something.
Either lost in space or dead or being forced to work for the Squadron Supreme.
Yeah, as scientists, yeah.
Yeah, that could be a thing. Maybe they could fuck with like the rolling time scale and be like, no, they died in the 60s.
Yeah, that could be cool. Or they're like wardens of the negative zone, because they're familiar with the negative zone. They're like they're like own the prison there or something.
Same too. It'll be interesting to see how they square the circle with Spider-Man, because it's like, Spider-Man got his powers, and his career would have been very different, but his origin doesn't actually involve the Avengers that much. He wanted to join the Fantastic Four was the thing when that didn't work. So it'll be interesting to see what they do there.
Well, yeah, Spider-Man's getting a book where Peter doesn't get bitten by a spider. He's like literally just Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah. Well, I saw a picture there from the new Shutterbug, and he looked like a spider monster.
Ooh, interesting.
So, like, is he the Shutterbug but doesn't know it? Does he become like a spider werewolf but isn't sure?
Like the one from the animated series when he morphed into like the fucking spider. Yeah,
I do. I had that actually. That would actually be a good way to spin it too. To be like, no. Hands of fate. Spider-Man still got bitten by the radioactive spider, but in this universe it got fucky, so he became a monster instead of a hero.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That way you get to have an alternate Peter Parker, but also, not have to tie it too hard to everything that's going on with the Avengers.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
So yeah, pretty solid first issue. They set up a lot of interesting things. I hope they can keep this momentum going forward. I feel we do this a lot, Matt. We get really excited by a first issue, and then like by issue 2, 3, oh, okay, now they've lost the plot.
Yeah, yeah. Well, again, it, I think it's going to be pretty good because it's a line wide
Yeah,
story. It's not like there's going to be an Avengers book that's just like some random Avengers story in the middle of this. Like every book is getting one of these Heroes Reborn
yeah.
stories. So yeah.
It's funny too, it's like every story Jason Aaron has told in his Avengers feels like it probably could have been an event. So it's funny that this is the one that actually
Yeah.
is the event.
That's very true. Very true.
Where it's like, so this is the one that's actually the event, though, because it's like, okay, we literally cannot deny how this would affect the rest of the universe.
Yeah.
And we're seeing some cool stuff there too, where it's like, hey, here's the Nighthawk book, but in this universe, Falcon was his sidekick.
Hmm.
And the champions, they were like the young squadron because they still existed, but they were inspired by the squadron and not by the Avengers.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Yeah, what else did we have this week, Matt, that was worth talking about?
Let's have a look. Oh, I had the start of Marvel's 34 issue Star Wars event.
Oh yeah, that's right. I kept meaning to pick that up this week. I'm like, oh, I should read the first part of what is it, Bounty Hunter War or
Yeah,
Bounty War?
War of the Bounty Hunters.
Because war sells. That's what it's good for. We got to put war in every comic event story now. Yeah, what's the inciting incident? Why are all the bounty hunters warring?
Han Solo for Han Solo. Boba
Oh,
Fett's
so just like it was in the old continuity.
yeah, a little bit different. Um, yeah, so Boba Fett's on his way to deliver Han to Jabba, and we learn that something goes wrong with the carbonite, and Han begins thawing. And so Boba has to head to Nar Shaddaa to a doctor he knows who can fix the carbonite matrix and make sure the organic material inside doesn't thaw out. But the doctor will only accept payments like up front. Boba has no credits to his name because he came straight from this job, and he's like, "Oh, I'll give you credits later on." But the doctor doesn't work that way. So, in the vein of Mandalorian, Boba Fett has to go on a side quest. And that side quest is to eliminate a Spider Woman alien. The only problem is the Spider Woman is like the best arena warrior on Nar Shaddaa, Narkanji, and Boba has to enter the arena and like work his way up the tiers to get to her because that's the only place she's like vulnerable. Everywhere else she's like highly protected because she's like the star like champion, right. Can't be killed or anything. So to do that they end up painting his armor completely black because people recognize the Boba Fett armor and be like, oh, that's Boba Fett. And he goes by the name Django. And he enters the arena and fights his way all to the top and gets to this spider lady who is a great design. It's just like it looks like a woman in like a giant spider costume. Basically, he's got like giant legs and everything. It's gross. He ends up killing her and getting the money and everything. But he goes back to the doctor and finds that someone has taken Han from him. He doesn't know who, but he's got to find them before Jabba becomes impatient.
Right. And he's going to kill his way halfway across the universe if he has to.
Yeah, pretty much.
Going to kill them all and let God sort them out.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's the inciting incident. And yeah, we're going to kick off into this huge 34 issue event.
Do you think that's too long, 34 issues, or are you excited?
I'm excited because it's getting every Star Wars book that's on the shelves now involved except for the High Republic stuff. So right. We got like the Darth Vader stuff, the main Star Wars book, Bounty Hunters, Dr. Aphra, and then there's like a bunch of one-shots about all the different bounty hunters. Right. So like Zuckuss and Bosk and yeah, IG-88, all of these. So yeah,
gotta read the Boss one. Gotta know what my man Bosk is up to.
he was the main focus of the last issue of Bounty Hunters, and that was pretty. Oh, fun. Really? Yeah.
Shit, I'll have to. I just love that he's a crazy fucking lizard man who worships the scorekeeper.
That's basically what that issue was. He was part of like a Hunger Games like event to get to a target, and he joined as like a prisoner, and he's hunted these hunters down through this alien world. It was great.
Dope.
It was great.
If we ever do a Star Wars RPG, I really want to play a Trandoshan. So yeah, it was pretty cool. I might have to check that out because yeah, that
Yeah, well,
definitely
you can
sounds
just
like that
start with
kind of
that first issue. There was like some build up in the Bounty Hunters book, but it basically boiled down to Valance like finding out that Han Solo, his old friend, is in trouble, and he beats the shit
right.
out of Dengar for the information.
Sounds about right. Oh, Dengar, the butt monkey of the universe. I guess the other big book we had this week too was Batman.
Yeah, issue 108.
Yes, the big debut of Miracle Molly, the character that DC really wants you to pre-order and really hopes that, speculators are going to get all hot and bothered for like they did for Punchline.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I kind of like her.
I like her too. Again, she defies all expectations, mainly because you think with that look and how heavily marketed she was, like, oh god, she's going to be really obnoxious, isn't she? Oh no, she's
Uh,
actually none of those
and
things.
oh god, another punchline for the sake of punch. This is DC like doing that knee jerk reaction, making him put this in the book. No, no, she's a really likable character, and a character by the end of the book you're like, yeah, I agree
Yeah.
with.
She serves a very solid purpose in the story, and I bet more people would have really come to like her if DC didn't try and market her so hard, which is
Hmm.
becoming a real downfall of DC marketing. Hey, it's the hot new character. You want to buy this first issue because we promise it will appreciate in value and be worth a lot of money one
They
day.
they did the same thing with that Robin book,
Yep.
with Flatline, who was only in like the last page.
Yep. All the worst habits of the 90s, all the worst habits of the speculator boom are back in a big, big way,
Hmm.
unfortunately. But
Yeah.
yeah, Punchline, or not Punchline, fucking Miracle Molly, actually kind of cool because she's just another cog in the Unsanity collective machine. And she basically is there to walk Bruce Wayne through all of this and explain what their deal is because she believes so thoroughly in what they're doing that Bruce will have no point but to, see things from their point of view by the time it's all over.
Yeah, he gets a great tour of what the Insanity Collective do, and really what they do is like they don't do anything bad.
No, they rob from the rich, but as they say, look, we never left anyone destitute on the streets, which they certainly would. We steal from people who can afford it and who are insured. We don't force anything on anybody. And what we essentially do is that, we believe that, the whole apparatus of society is broken and corrupt from the bottom up, and that it is insane for people to toil forever with such little reward, just to try and make things maybe a little bit better for their families. We've decided to opt out from this system that we view to be insane, and we decide to be unsane, to live on the fringes of society.
Yeah, and to do that they have to have like their past lives
Yeah.
erased by Mr. Wise.
Yeah, you gotta start from square one, basically. And she says it wipes away, all your trauma, all your bad feelings, and lets you start completely new and basically learn life over again. And she even says something quite cutting to Bruce, where she's like, "Imagine how Batman would feel if he could magically flip a switch and get rid of all of his trauma and all of his bad feelings. Imagine what kind of hero he could be then."
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Yeah, she was talking to Batman at that point, and like Batman was kind of like, that's a good point.
Yeah,
I wonder, and it's like it makes me think. It's like, oh, are they gonna like do that thing? Are they gonna like make him get rid of this trauma and make him evolve to be a better Batman? Because that's like the whole like thing of Tynan's
indeed.
Batman is to be a better Batman.
Building a better type of Batman. And yeah, it's interesting. Now, we've seen stories like this before, and I think, where Batman always comes down to is like, no, you can't just opt out of society, even if it is broken and fucked up. You got to try that much harder to make it better. And we are, as people, tapestries, the good and the bad. Yes, I have horrible trauma that drives me, but I would never sacrifice that for anything because, that's as much part of me as the cape and the boots and everything else. And I'm like, oh, this is actually interesting to see a new group of villains not going to be like, I'm going to blow up the city. I'm going to shoot you, Batman. I'm actually going to give you a very hard moral choice.
Yeah, yeah, it's a different type of I wouldn't say villainy, but like threat for Batman to deal with.
Yeah, very much so. And then, of course, you got the Scarecrow story still happening in the background, and Simon Saint is the evil industrialist who's pulling all the strings, and he now has Mahoney, who he's going to try and turn into the first Peacekeeper.
Yeah, and he pretty much does in this issue.
Yes, he does.
I'm in I'm very surprised at how fast the future state stuff is progressing through this book.
Same, and I guess we'll have to figure out at some point where it's like, okay, they keep saying future state is a possible future. Are we going to see that happen, or are we at the point now where it's like, no, 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 we already broke off at some point. So like the future state stuff will happen, but happen differently.
That's what I think is going to have. Like, very few things, like different things might happen. Like now, maybe like Bruce doesn't get shot by Peacekeeper One or
Yeah.
something, like because of what happened with his story with the Unsanity Collective or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
My working fan theory, and they have not confirmed nor denied this yet, but it's the fan theory I'm going with, is that when Jonathan Kent told his father Superman about the future he saw while hanging out with the
Diverted everything.
diverted everything, that he ended up fucking up time. And he also told Damien too, so he's just
Yeah.
telling everyone. And the more people John tells, he's actually changing history. And that's why we're seeing stuff that's different now. It's all Superboy's fault. Superboy did it.
It could also be as well, in the future state, but while it's not explicitly said in those books, it's heavily implied that Joker actually was behind A-Day.
Right.
Whereas in this case, we absolutely know it was Scarecrow,
We know he's
and we
not,
know
yeah.
Scarecrow in those in the Harley Quinn Future State books didn't have as much control over the Magistrate and stuff, and Simon Saint that he does now
Yeah.
in these Batman books. So again, that could be another point of like convergence.
That is assuming, and we talked about this theory in the last episode too, that is assuming this Scarecrow with the new costume is Jonathan Crane and not another person in the suit.
That's true. That's true.
Because that still is like something they could pull and be like, but it wasn't actually me.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be interesting to see if that happens. But yeah, so lots of interesting stuff going on here. Yeah, this was an issue with very little action. This was just talking about high-minded philosophical ideas.
Yeah, well, all the action was in the backup.
Yes.
In the Ghostmaker backup, which is really brilliant as well. I love that we're getting like these weird and wacky assassins and their backstories. With the first one now being Kid Kwai, and how she's some like nanobot assassin who has the memories of a real life little girl, and Ghostmaker has to fight her.
Very, very fun, very funny, good stuff.
Yeah.
What else did you have this week, Matt?
Let's have a look. Oh, Crime Syndicate issue 3.
I finally stopped reading this one, which means I got to finish more X-Men this week, but tell me all the same.
Well, this is the ending of the first arc of the book, because it's a 6-issue book. So it's like halfway mark at the moment. And yeah, this is the heroes, or the heroes, quote unquote,
finger quotes,
banding together to stop the Starro, which we do indeed learn this issue is a good guy. They fled to Earth because Earth has metahumans that they want them to help deal with the overlords of Oa, which is their
which
guardians.
they had mentioned before.
Yeah, they got into a big fight with the Guardians, and the Guardians almost like killed them all. So they fled to Earth to try and find the metahumans to help. And yeah, so the heroes end up taking the Starros down. We get introduced to Alexander Luthor, who looks exactly like the Luthor in Superman and Lois.
That's funny.
And his part of the story is actually quite great. I compared the entire issue to that SpongeBob meme, was like, we saved the city, and it's like all on fire, because that's basically what this issue is. We've got
we're in backwards land.
Alexander Luthor trying his best to save the people of Metropolis. He's got no powers. He's just got his suit, so he's trying his best to save all the people. He's trying to get Ultraman to like, save these people. This is your home. Save these people. And Ultraman is like, I don't care. I'm gonna just like meth myself up with kryptonite and go after the Starros and everything. And yeah, the issue ends with Ultraman proclaiming he won the day in the destroyed city, as everything around him burns.
See, now that actually sounds fun. See, I actually wish Alexander Luthor was in the story earlier, because as I mentioned before, the Crime Syndicate, their logic is so alien and so like reverse evil, it's hard to like actually grasp on and kind of care. That's what the book needed. It needed Alexander Luthor in there sooner.
I'm surprised they didn't bring him in that first issue.
Yeah, because you need like a sane man. You need like a sane pair of eyes to see
Yeah.
what's going on. And the fact that it's a Luther makes it that much more interesting.
Yeah, yeah, and that's exactly what he was. All his dialogue was like, "What the fuck are you guys doing? Save the people! What the fuck are
That's
you
what
just stop
that's what we
bickering?" And
need.
yeah,
We need a POV character. Maybe this will read better in trade. I know in the solicitations they showed off like his team, like the Legion, the Justice Legion, which is
Mhm.
like the Legion of Doom, but also good guys.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So there's like a good version of Giganta and like a good version of other characters.
yeah, yeah. And the backup of this issue was Superwoman's story, and
Mm.
how Steve Trevor crash landed on Themyscira and started a romance with Donna Troy, but then like he didn't want to get involved in man's world, so he took her hostage and like tried to
Oh,
force the Amazons to like help in the world war, and they're like, no, no, you're a fucking stupid little man thing, we'll just kill you. And it was actually quite great because it was Donna learning that not all weapons are swords and shields and spears. Sometimes they're words and emotions. And
ooh.
Hippolyta tells her to use them as her tools in trade and manipulate people with them. And
Mm.
you'll find that they're often the better weapon than a sword or a shield.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that's like the catalyst that like hardens Superwoman at that point. Because before that, she was just kind of like Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Huh.
it was pretty cool, pretty good.
One bad romance fucked her up forever.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
God damn it, Steve. You ruined it for everyone, dick. Hey, speaking of villains acting as heroes, Suicide Squad #3 was this week too.
Yeah.
I'm digging this book and what they're doing with it. This one actually kind of slows things down, and we get to hang out with the team as it is.
Yep.
They keep doing a fun thing. I don't know if you noticed it too. This picture motif. Every issue opens with a bunch of different pictures,
hmm
like from like old issues and old stories and everything. And this one was all about Superboy and all of the events that he took place in.
Yeah, it's like Waller's Files.
Very, Metropolis Kid joining the Young Justice team, joining the Titans. But as Nocturna brings up, isn't there like huge swaths missing from this? In fact, when I ask him about it under Mind Control, he sounds like a guy reading a Wikipedia
Yeah, so it
page.
sounds like he's reading off a script.
Which I'm like, oh, that's good. Thompson is actually bringing up the fact that so much of this character's life doesn't make sense anymore
Yeah.
because of retcons and bullshit.
hmm
Which again, I went back and looked at this and I'm like, wait, New 52 Superboy wasn't Superboy, right? That was
No.
Con-El, but Con-El is his name, and they list it all on the official DC wiki like they were the same person, even though they're not.
Yeah, the New 52 Superboy was a mistake
Yeah, that
that
they
no
got
one
rid of.
talks about. No one talks about anymore.
Which is why there's that huge swath missing there from his life. And then it's like, wait, but didn't he not exist? And then Mr. Oz, and oh yeah, they never got to tell that
Yeah,
story.
he
So
kind of
oops.
existed because he existed in the pre-Flashpoint world, but then got sent to Gem World by Star Labs, and has spent like the New 52 time there, and only got found
Right.
by Young Justice, and
It's a whole thing.
yeah,
We also see that Peacemaker, even though he's working for Waller because their ideologies, align, he still doesn't trust her, and he's retrofitted the laundry room so he can actually talk to the different members of his team.
I like I just love how they keep hammering home how much he loves peace.
Just
And he's
loves
like,
it so
I
much.
just I do this fucking piece and nothing else, and fuck Waller and her fucking suicide. This is my Suicide Squad.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. And then you're like, oh yeah, he's a hero, isn't he? Still Peacemaker. He's like an anti-hero, but he's still a hero. He's just got such a big fucking boner for peace
Yeah,
and doing things his way.
yeah, yeah.
Waller is very unpeaceful, and she wants Connor to replace me, and oh, he's super unpeaceful.
hmm
We can't have that. I love too the rivalry between these two, because Connor's like, hey, remember when you sucker punched me last time when I was sick with kryptonite?
hmm
I remember that, motherfucker. We're gonna have that now. Don't you worry. I'm gonna tap you back when you're not looking. And Waller's big thing is like, okay, we need a speedster for the team now, and we have Bolt, who we met in the Titans Academy book and in Future State. She's Australian. I didn't even know she was Australian, but we find that out this issue.
Yep, and yeah, the issue is the setup to like getting her, and they've set it up to like, oh, the team goes to the movies on certain days, and then she goes for a run, and that's when we'll grab her before she gets back to the Titans Tower, because getting into the Titans Tower is like impossible.
We are literally at the point now in our super villain Suicide Squad. We are kidnapping children off the street. That's officially where we're at now.
Waller is that desperate.
We are one white panelless ban away from just stealing children off the street. And Superboy, who's just not putting up with any of the bad guy shit, he talks to Bolt. I'm assuming at a speed that only they can hear, and he's like, "Hey, run, get out of here." Which I like, where he's like, "Look, I'm on your team, but like I will totally sabotage you at every turn if you let me."
Yeah.
Yeah, I am not sold on any of this. They also do a thing. The end kind of doesn't line up with the last Titans Academy, because we see a scene where Waller's like, "Oh, go collect Bolt," and it's the same dialogue as from the Titans Academy book, but all the staging is different.
Yeah. In the Titans Academy book, don't they like, doesn't like Peacemaker and Superboy get Bolt, like they
Yes.
defeat her, but yeah, in the end of the Suicide Squad, it's like Red X or something.
Yes, they're also sitting down and it's in the dark, and I'm like, "Uh-oh, you two writers didn't talk to each other, because the timeline of these events also doesn't line up anymore."
Which seems really strange, because it's like this is like a crossover. It's meant to be a
Yes.
crossover. So
Oh
like,
yeah.
what did they like not like talk, or is this just like just before the talks happened?
Or something. It gets kind of crazy too, because Peacemaker's like, "Well, we missed the chance to kidnap her off the street. I guess we got to go to the tower to collect her," which we saw at the end of the Titans book. But at the end of that book, they were fighting Red X. Here, Red X comes to try and help them and says, "Hey, I can help you sneak in to the tower."
Yeah,
Which leads me to believe, and follow me on this theory, Matt, there's actually two Red X's.
I think there's multiple Red X's. Yeah.
Yeah, one's a good guy, one's a bad guy. And one might just be a kid fucking around, but clearly the fact that the Suicide Squad is fighting him in one issue and it being helped by him in another leads me to believe that surely there must be multiple.
Well, yeah, all those kids in like that first issue, the first two issues were like super interested in it all. Just it wasn't just one. So like, yeah, I could totally see multiple children dressing up as it.
That there's actually multiple Red X's. So yeah, feels super weird for these books to be doing crossover so early, especially that Titans book, which is only 2 issues in, and it's like, "Oop, crossover."
Feels like it was meant to be like after the first arc.
Yeah, but they're like, "Now we got to do it now because there's a Suicide Squad movie, probably."
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't love that Titans book. I know technically that came out last week, but the lack of any real solid protagonist really hurts that book.
I know I totally understand what you mean, but yeah, I quite enjoy it. I enjoy a look at DC's Hogwarts. For
Yeah.
better lack
I
of
mean,
a word.
when it works, it works. Like when that Mike kid is talking to Cyborg, and I love that Cyborg is the gym teacher, because obviously, he has a history with professional
Yep.
sports and
Football,
everything.
yep.
So it makes sense for him to. When he's just talking to that kid, I'm like, okay, this works. This should be the series. But then it's like, oh wait, we have 5 other characters we need to talk to. Some might be cast members, some might be red herrings for Red X. And then it's like, oh, Red X needs to be the coolest guy who gives everyone the slip. And I'm like, God, I hope this just doesn't turn into a Red X wank fest
It was a bit. It was too many new characters.
at once. Like, I would have kept it small. Like the fact that it's a whole school worth of characters. Like, no, you pick 5. It's got to be 5.
Yeah, a whole school worth of characters, 90% of which are new. Like we haven't seen before this issue.
And some who I'm sure are only here to be red herrings.
Oh, absolutely. Oh yeah, red herrings and red shirts.
And red shirts. Yeah, exactly, because we got to start killing some of these kids soon, naturally.
Yeah, oh yeah, killing kids, yes.
Yeah,
DC in hand with killing kids.
with killing DC, killing kids. It's our favorite thing. Gotta get Deathstroke coming out from under their beds, and it's that Michael Jordan meme. Fuck them kids. And he does.
It's like the kids exist, and he took that personally.
And Deathstroke took that very personally. Teen Titans exist. Not on my watch. Not if I can do anything about it. Which, man, that too, you think after the whole Judas contract thing, you think the Teen Titans would be really, really, prepared to have someone like, try and infiltrate their ranks and try and fuck with them.
Oh, now that you said that, what if this whole Red X thing is like is like a drill by the
Oh
older
man.
it's
Oh
to like
shit.
prevent that sort of stuff from happening.
Hey kids, you're gonna get a lot of new friends in your life, and sometimes they're horrible betrayers you have to watch out for. We got fucked over really bad one time. It's just Dick dressing up
Yeah,
and fucking
it's
it's
Dick,
hazing.
it's Dick, it's Garfield, Raven, it's all these characters just like dressing up as Red X.
It's just hazing. Sorry, kids, we were
Yeah,
just hazing you. Took it too far.
yeah, yeah.
I would love that. It's not gonna happen, but that would be my
That'd be so
favorite
fucking
comic of
great.
the year.
That'd
That
be
it's
so
just
great.
these adults fucking with these children.
Yeah, it's like,
Look, you
geez,
all
we didn't
thought,
expect the Suicide Squad to get involved. Jesus Christ.
yeah, wow, you kids thought we were really lame and old, so we had to prove how cool you were by bringing out the Legend of Red X. We really didn't think it would go this far. Man, your parents are gonna be so mad at us. Don't tell your parents, kids. Dick says, don't tell your
Good thing you
parents.
just signed all these Wayne Enterprises NDAs.
Yeah, all these waivers. Yeah.
I have
Oh,
all this money now, so I'm just gonna sue you if you talk.
yeah. And Raven and Garvey, you guys thought it was crazy that I made them sign all these paperworks. Well, who's laughing now? They're like, no kid's gonna sign that paperwork. Yes, they are. What else did you have this week, Matt?
I had the second installment of the Infinite Frontier Secret Files.
That's right. Okay, see, I picked this one up because it was Roy, and I did read through it, but didn't actually read all of it. He gets into a fun bar fight.
Yeah, this is a look through Roy Harper's very, very tragic life, and how
Isn't it?
Cameron Chase, upon viewing him, realizes he doesn't actually have any memories of all of this tragic shit that happened. He doesn't remember it, but the thing is, he could, and she's worried about the man that will come out on the other side.
True enough.
And yeah, the whole issue is based around Roy getting his ass kicked around a New Mexican bar because he keeps antagonizing Big Bill, this guy in the local bar, and we don't really know why. He just keeps antagonizing him, and my theory is that he does actually remember a lot of the stuff, and this is like him punishing himself
Right.
for stuff like his daughter's death and like
Oh, I like
all the
that.
stuff he did. It's not really implied, but like you could draw that from that by what Cameron Chase is saying.
I like that a lot, actually, because yeah, he's had probably one of the worst histories of any character
Mhm.
ever. They've only ever fucked him up for the last decade. So for once, a character having amnesia is actually a blessing for him, or he would remember losing his arm, his dead daughter, his drug
It
addiction, his alcohol addiction, the trucker
it
cap.
this is like his form of meditation, because there's also a part in the book that's takes place in the past where he's still Speedy, and
Mm.
he misses a shot and lets Deathstroke escape, and he gets really angry and snaps his bow and everything, and Oliver's like, it's cool, man, just just meditate on it. It's fine. If you fail, you'll get him again another time. There'll always be another time. Just like calm down and like breathe in, breathe out. And like this could be seen as his form of meditation, just getting his ass kicked.
That man, that's a real dark character thing, but also very much fits Roy
Yeah,
Harper.
yeah.
I meditate by getting beaten up because I only know pain and suffering. Yeah, all right. I want to read that Infinite Frontier book when it starts. This sounds like a nice mixture of characters and backgrounds and motivations.
Yeah, and he's left much like how we saw him in Infinite Frontier, to like sort of roam the countryside and just, I guess, kind of find himself and just be not Roy Harper Arsenal, but just Roy Harper.
Again, which I'm
And
fine with
then
that.
he might get superpowers, maybe.
Yeah, that's the rumor too. I'm like, okay, I mean, I guess no one else in the Green Arrow family has powers, and I guess it's nice to give something to him instead of take it away.
Oh, they'll give it to him, but they'll take something from him. They'll take his
They'll
arm
take
or something. You can't
there
you
you
can have these powers, but you only get one arm.
Yeah. Oh, we took your left nut. Sorry about that. You're now down one nut. Hope you're okay with that. I had Amazing Spider-Man 65 this week. I'll be really quick because the story itself was really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tombstone and Robbie team up to save their kids from Madam Mask and Crime Master who kidnapped them. The bad guys actually have one up on Spider-Man, and that is because he's streaming all of his activity now because of threats and menaces. They're like, "Oh yeah, we know exactly when he's going to be here. We have our spider tracker map.
Hmm.
So we know we have enough time to kill you all before he gets here." But oh, don't worry, Tombstone calls ahead, and the girl gang, the Sinister Syndicate, actually come to help them save Beetle, and they all end up teaming up, and they all fight the bad guys, and they win.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. Oh, and Randy and Beetle are going to be moving in together now. I'm like, really? That's how much your relationship advanced? You're just going to be moving in together? All right. But it's really just setting the stage for the next issue, which is the big double length issue, Kingpin and the Lifeline tablet, and Boomerang, who's on a bit of a suicide mission
Nice, nice.
because he just now learned about power and responsibility, and it's really fucking with his head. He took all the wrong pointers from "with great power comes great responsibility." But yeah, that's what I had. I had one more after this too.
I did as well. I had U.S. Agent issue 5, the
Right.
finale to Christopher Priest run.
Cool.
And yeah, this was all action because we had John Walker fighting the new U.S. agent April Manning on a crashing helicarrier, while also having to deal with a byproduct of the American Kaiju program.
Oh,
And
so it was
it was, yeah,
good.
it wasn't actually mentioned until this issue, and John's like, wait, this is like a byproduct of the American Kaiju. This is like one that failed, but it didn't fail enough that they had to destroy it. They wanted to keep it, and that's what was buried under this town, and they put
What
the helicarrier on top of it to keep it like hidden.
That's also kind of an allegory for John Walker too. You were part of the Captain America program that failed, but we still keep you around because you're still kind of useful. We just bury you in a bunch of stuff most of
Yeah.
the time.
We also learned that April is actually like because he juices himself up with a serum. The serum is actually derived from this kaiju, and
Oh.
because its blood was infected by the leaking battery of the helicarrier, he can't stop taking it because if he does, he will die. Which is why he
That
keeps
seems like
like
a
fucking
problem.
juicing himself with it. Again, I think it's kind of an allegory for like drug epidemics in African
Yeah.
American communities and stuff like
Mm.
that.
Sounds like
Um,
something Christopher Priest would do.
yeah, we get a little bit more backstory on him, and we find out how he's very similar to John, but also in a completely different way because he comes from a background of wealth and everything, and
Mm.
he literally bought the U.S. agent mantle. Um,
Oh shit.
so he's very much like John, but then he's also everything John despises, like elitists and
Mm.
like the 1% sort of thing. Whereas John likes the people of Ephraim, the salt of the earth Americans
Right,
and
of
everything.
course.
There's a great part where we learn that April's son was actually murdered by a police officer,
Oh shit.
but April's like, yeah, well, the police officer was just doing his job.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, like
What a fucking
completely
villain.
different to what you would think that like I said in my review, you could easily done the easy way out, which is make April a more quote unquote left leaning
Sympathetic. Yeah.
U.S. agent, but no, he's like just as bad as John, and he
I
keeps
get.
calling John out on his shit when his shit stinks more than John's.
Wow. Again, man, what an interesting thing to try and create a villain for a character like John Walker, who is so complicated. You need to make an equally complicated
Yeah,
villain for him to fight.
equally shittier person. Yeah.
And also, I'm sure what is it that this is Christopher Priest getting some stuff out too about
Oh
people he
yeah,
doesn't like, being a black man himself and everything too.
absolutely.
And a priest himself. I don't know what his own political affiliations are, but still, maybe he was the perfect guy to write this.
Absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, by the end of the book, the April he's still left alive, but John manages to take back his shield and
Mm.
kind of abscond from working as a US agent anymore, and he's kind of a freelance, and his handler, his old handler is like, maybe you kind of work better like this without government oversight. You seem to get shit done a little bit. Like you may fuck up every now and then, but you seem to get shit done. So we'll let you like keep that shield, and then that's leading into the United States of Captain America,
Cool.
because he's going to team up with Cap, I guess, to go find Cap's shield.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'm about it. Yeah, I might have to go back and read this. This sounds interesting.
it's pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. It's exactly how like John is like portrayed in Falcon and Winter Soldier as well. He's no different to that character, and yeah, it's pretty
Again,
great.
it's our new age of more complex, kind of got to unpack a lot with John Walker. He
Mhm.
is many things all at once.
Yeah, yeah.
I also had Immortal Hulk this week, 46, which was we're nearing the end of this one, Matt.
Yeah, yeah.
They're kicking hard to the finish line. We saw the big return of the Gray Hulk at the end of the previous issue.
Mm-hmm.
And he just fucks up the UFOs by using dirty tricks and underhanded tactics that the Green Hulk wouldn't do, but Gray Hulk would do.
He abuses them on Twitter.
He more or less. He's like, oh hey, UFOs, you got metal skin. Ah, but I bet you got nice squishy organs under there if I just poke your eyes and shit. And oh hey, one of you can turn into a deadly aerosol. Well, what if I breathe you in and then spray you in the eyes of your leader so he's blinded?
That's pretty cool.
And then it's like, oh, what's that? You're punching me away to Philadelphia? That's fine. I was done with this fight anyway.
I wanted to go to Philadelphia.
Literally, that's his thing. Like, you can't beat me because I'm just like an asshole in this whole thing. And eventually Guy Rich, who's running Gamma Flight now, is like, fuck, I deputize these villains and they can't do the job. I'm really gonna have to suck up my pride and I'm gonna have to call the Avengers for help, which is what he does.
Oh nice. I'm surprised he just didn't get Orchis involved, since that was the thing through like Sword.
Yeah, now
He's
that
like
we
working
know
with Orchis.
that, yeah, he's a member of that and that he's all involved. It's like, no, you see, I fuck up the mutants from 12 to 3. I fuck up the Hulk from 3 to 6.
There's a whole schedule, yeah.
You gotta compartmentalize when you're a governmental d-bag like me. So yeah, the Avengers corner Gray Hulk at Ween's bar. Get it? Like
Yeah.
Len Wein.
Yeah.
Because everything is a name of someone in this. And Thor particularly really wants to pick a fight with him because, like, yeah, when you beat me before, when we blew up a whole town, I wasn't king yet, but I'm the king of thunder now, king of Asgard. And the Hulk's just like, punch. You're still nothing compared to me. And it's like a big deal because the last time the Avengers fought the Hulk, he totally embarrassed them. They had to blow up a whole town just to turn him into a skeleton. And even that didn't work. And you're thinking like, oh, Hulk's cornered now. Who's going to come to help him? And it's Betty Ross as the Harpy who shows up with a laser gun and starts firing on the Avengers.
That's great.
It is, and I'm like, well, I guess they're back together now. Good for them.
Well, if only obviously this takes place before the last Avengers arc, because it's like, well, the Avengers now have like a Phoenix amongst their ranks. Like,
Yeah.
Phoenix could just like fucking murder Hulk.
Yeah, we do actually see Blade as part of the team too, so it definitely
nice.
is before that.
Nice.
So someone's definitely paying attention there. But yeah, I love that idea that this is what gets what is it, Betty and Bruce back together fighting the Avengers. And as we've seen from art from that Defenders book and everything that's coming out, Betty stays the Harpy. She's not gonna not be the Harpy.
Okay.
Like, I assume this story would end with her, being cured and, this being, what is it, Bruce's thing, like, hey, sorry, I keep ruining your life, but,
Yeah, okay.
Also, the chat says that was apparently a lamppost, not a gun. It looked like a gun to me. I don't
The
know.
lamppost that shoots like a gun.
Yeah,
it's one of those Philadelphia lamppost guns.
I often mistake lampposts for guns. It makes my life very, very difficult, and vice versa. Oh man, does that make my life difficult? So yeah, that was that story, and it's pretty good.
Nice.
All right, then I guess on that note, everyone, we can start bringing the show to a close. As always, thank you for joining us on Sunday nights over at Twitch. That's always a big deal. Thanks to everyone who donated and helped out with the show. Means more now than ever. Same for everyone who is a patron. You'll be getting this show first before anyone else in both audio and video format. That means the world to us, as again, as YouTube algorithms fuck us around and we're not quite sure what the future for this show will hold. You can also support the show by getting some delicious Wild Bill craft soda and using the promo code Cape Joel, all one word, for 10% off. I know people are buying that, and that certainly helps us.
Yeah, keep buying that stuff. I heard it's very good. I just wish I could buy some.
I know, right? Maybe if we sell enough, they'll send you a special care package all the way to Australia.
Hopefully.
So thank you, everyone, for coming in and hanging out. We really do appreciate it. And we'll try and keep you posted as we find out what we're going to do with the show. Maybe we'll go every other week. Maybe we'll try and put it on YouTube so at least we can take donations. Again, obviously any feedback I could get in the comment section would certainly help us a lot.
Absolutely. Maybe we should also like go to Twitter as well and
Maybe.
ask what's happening over there, what they
Yeah.
think.
I mean, if we put the show anywhere else, would you follow the show there? That's like a whole thing that we want to know. Because like I don't want to stop doing it. And I don't think Matt wants to stop doing it.
No, not at all.
This has been maybe the most consistent project we've ever done. But like if it's literally gonna become a money sink, and if I see the views on the channel go down and I know this is why, then that's really gonna stick in my craw, and I don't want to have to do that.
Yeah.
But until then, everyone, thank you so much for watching and listening. And Matt and myself will be back again next time, everyone. Bye bye.
See ya.